We got to a point not based on a legal issue, but based on a trust issue, where the level of trust between the president and General Flynn had eroded to the point where he felt he had to make a change. The evolving and eroding level of trust as a result of this situation and a series of other questionable instances is what led the president to ask for General Flynn's resignation.
You heard Sean Spicer there, the president asking for the resignation of General Flynn because of eroding trust. What's your take?
Well, of course, it's up to the president. It's not up to me, and it's not up to the media. And if indeed there are some other issues involved that we don't know about and have not been talked about yet, that's fine. What I worry about is that media is starting to push Trump around. The media is starting to is going to smell blood in the water, and they're going to go after him all the more. As far as I know, his discussing sanctions or the lifting of sanctions with the Russians before Mr. Trump became president is perfectly kosher. I don't see what's wrong with it at all. I'm just worried that the media made a big deal out of it, and now they're trying to control Trump. And if Trump bows to that, the media's not going to stop. They're just going to go after him all the harder.
I've never seen an onslaught like this, Ben.
Never. Even in the Nixon days, never seen anything like it. Every day, news, culture, everything is about an attack on Trump. It is like, I mean, if you've ever read anything about North Korean brainwashing of American POWs during the Korean War, just beat them down. And I think they're trying to do that to Mr. Trump, and I think they're trying to say, we're going to be the bosses, and and I think their goal is to make him resign and for him to say, I'm just sick of this. I'm just sick of being yelled at every day and mocked and belittled, and my family mocked and belittled. I think I'll just turn it over to Mike Pence.
So you think that that's the goal? They just want to run him out of town?
I think their goal is to eventually beat him to a pulp and run him out of town. I really think their goal is not to tell any news. I think their goal is to break his spirit.
Do you think they'll succeed? I mean, you know, you've observed, you've worked with Nixon, you've observed Donald Trump. I don't know how close you are to him at all.
I'm not close to him at all, but I've followed him for a long, long time. And, you know, there's an old saying that people say, oh, well, what does the king care if a court jester says something about him? Well, the king cares if somebody calls him an idiot, and the king cares if somebody calls him a fool and a knave and a liar and a criminal. It breaks down the king's spirit. And even Trump, who I think is a tough guy and a starker, a Yiddish word being a tough guy, is not immune to having his whole life broken down. And I think I can see it happening, it seems to me, on a family-wide basis, an onslaught such as I've never seen. Even in the Nixon days, the only person I ever saw criticize Julie Eisenhower was Nora Ephron. Everybody else was respectful to her. But now it's every member of the Trump family, to the nth degree, gets whipped and whipped and whipped like a poor beaten cur.
Yeah, no, it is something else. It really is. It's unfortunate calling him a liar and pathological liar, and having having Al Franken, a U.S. senator, say that that he's not mentally stable.
That is an outrage. Now, I've known Al for probably 30 years, and he's an incredibly smart guy, but he's a thorough partisan. And he's a patriot, and he's a great guy in terms, especially of the veterans. But he is a thorough partisan, and I am very sad to see him lend his name and his stature to this low, below-the-belt attack on the president, calling him insane. And by the way, I've noticed that Democrats do that. When they have a president they can't beat at the polls, they say he's insane. I saw them do it to Nixon, and I saw them do it in a sort of a way to Gerald Ford when they said he was stupid. This is a graduate of Yale Law School, and they were calling him stupid, and Jimmy Carter was not stupid. And I see the media do this at 1%. Now they're at 110%. They're just revving up their engines every day going after Trump, trying to beat him down and make him blow his brains out politically.